Right. So this is about design center, especially in context to the MuleSoft, because in the last sessions we have discussed about MuleSoft integration and how MuleSoft integrations will be done, etc. All that stuff we have discussed. Today we are going to discuss about the important concept, which is about design center in MuleSoft when we are working on the integration side, especially when we wants to create any kind of APIs and all everything. So design center is one of the core and important element, one to be known with. Now, when we want to create any design centers and all, here there are different aspects that we have to create. For example, if you want to create any kind of new API specification, if you want to define how the API will behave, right? So if you want to create any kind of new API specification, that can be created. Or else if you want to compose any kind of snippets which can be reused across multiple APIs and all that, so new fragmentation will be used. At the same time, if you want to import any files or if you want to sync any existing GitHub repo or any new synchronization of API if you want to create, so everything can be done over here. This is one of the core and important element to be known with. This is what generally creation is all about. Create a design center is one of the core and important element, one to be known with. Next, if you want to create any kind of API projects, wherein here we have to create API projects as in when you can see. So there are no API projects as such. So or else if you want to create any kind of API projects over here, here we can create whatever the required API projects, everything we can create over here. Next, if there are any APIs that are to be shared in this regard, especially when we are creating the design center, that also can be done. Now, what I'm going to show you today about how to create new API specification. So if you want to create a new API specification, make sure you need to create a project name. For example, this is a sample example I'm showing you. For example, I'm taking some POS. Okay, POS nothing but point of sale system is a project name I have taken. Now, when there is any new project that is created, when we are working on for integration purposes, so how are we going to draft the API specification? What is that something we are comfortable with? So there are three different options. For example, if you are comfortable with the designing of our own, right? So if you want to create our own designing, or else if you want to complete our own coding, etc., by specifying whatever the kind of specification language we are using. Okay, either it can be RML 1.2 normally we use, or else we can take RML 0.8 also, right? So anyone can be taken. Or else we have another option where we use visual interfaces and all. So wherein whatever the API specifications for both RML and AOS guiding, we have to guide it. The third option is that we can create some GitHub, because in the last sessions, if you remember, I already explained you how to create a GitHub repository, right? So when you want to manage any kind of codes and all, because if you can go through the previous sessions that I have conducted. So if you can go there so that you will be knowing that. So you can create your own GitHub repository, and that repository we can authorize. We can authorize the repository and we can create it. That is something which we can create. So once we have created, generally we can simply click on create API, so that whatever the required API that are to be created in this regard, or if you want to manage or if you want to design any kind of APIs in this regard, something which normally we can do. So creation of API is one of the core important element. Here you can see we have created one API which is called pos.rml, wherein here this API POS master we have, right? So RML 1.2 title is POS. Okay, this is how generally we have to create API notification, because in context to that, as I'm saying again, I'm repeating the same. If you want to create a API notification, this is how we generally we create. Next thing, we must be knowing about the kind of dependencies what we have, followed by the kind of exchanges what we have, all that. Or else if you can share it, if you can share, or else if you want to publish, you can do that. So this part I'm going to discuss in the next session.